All right, I'm so excited for this episode of Dumb Pitches. My guest was Janae Burris, and you are going to help us decide if a 12-year relationship was in fact a bad idea. I'm here in the Third Wheel Podcast Studio in Seattle. If you're interested in podcasting, check them out. And another shout out to our sponsor for this episode, Campfire Coffee Company.
What a bunch of dumb pitches. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to Dumb Pitches, the show where we ask successful people about their worst ideas. I'm Monica Nevi, I'm your host. This episode is brought to you by Campfire Coffee Company. They're located in Tacoma, Washington, but they do have online services. I love this place. It is set up like a campground inside of their store. It's really cool. The tables are made out of trees. I guess most tables are made out of trees. They look like trees still, and they have like a little fire pit and stuff. So when it's open, that's awesome. But they also have some great coffee you can order online. I got this sweet sweatshirt. They got some mugs and stuff that you can take camping. So go check them out. It's welovecampfire.com and Campfire Coffee Company. I'm very excited for this guest. One of my favorite people from Denver. Very funny comedian. It's Janae Burris. Yay. Nice. Oh, all three tech guys are clapping.
Trying to get the rhythm right of that. She says my name, someone applauds.
Yeah, I'll wait for it. Yeah. Perfect. I'm glad you're on the show with us. I will say I asked, booking one of these shows, you got to ask some friends and ask different people if they want to do it. You were the only person who, when I told you the idea, was like, well, I don't have bad ideas. Which I loved. I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
I just have a bad memory.
Really. Or a good memory. That's perfect. You're like, I don't remember my bad ideas. Perfect. So what we start with is we're going to go over your good ideas so that people know you are not just full of bad ideas. So very funny comedian. Again, one of my favorites from the Denver area. She was Just for Laughs New Faces in 2019, which was the last time you could do it. So don't pretend like it was a long time ago.
Y'all.
Yeah.
Sorry. Eat your heart out, other comedians.
She's a pro at the Comedy Works in Denver, which is a fantastic club, but also it's kind of a program that they work to have the local comedians become the pro comics, which is actually, it means a lot is what I'm trying to say, that she is one of the pros.
It's partly that. But as you watch a lot of people come from out of town and get on the list, you're like, oh, it's not just us. It's also
there's others. Like
a guy from somewhere else.
Yeah, I snuck in on one of those Tuesday shows or whatever. Then you used to host the Denver Post Cannabis show.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that's weed.
Yes, but to elevate it, you call it cannabis. Those in the know.
It's classy.
Weeds for kids and hippies. Cannabis is a lifestyle.
Nice. Let's see. You also the Shit Talk tours at the art museum. Is that correct?
The Museum of Contemporary Art. Yeah. That myself and my friend Christy Buckley, we do tours of the art. It's contemporary art, and most of my tour is like, I can make that. Basically.
That's awesome. And then you were also on NBC's First Look with your group, the Pussy Bros. It's your best name ever.
Yeah, you guys never be like, can I say that word? It's referring to cats. You see all of our merch is cats.
Cats.
I don't care for cats, but that's what it is. Right. Except for Olive, one cat that I like. But yeah, that's the three of us. We started a comedy girl gang basically, so we could tour together for safety's sake.
Nice.
And it's nice to do projects with them. We got to teach one of the bachelors, Ben Higgins, how to. Well, we just taught him how to do a set. Funny is funny.
How to do.
Taught him how to perform.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, where to put the mic stand.
And stuff. It was cool.
That's awesome. Okay, so that you have plenty of good ideas. You're successful. I already know you're a very funny comedian, but it's got all these other things going on.
Is such a what is that? It's
relative term. Yeah.
Relative.
Yeah. I say that all the time as well. So But I think I'm pretty smart, so I picked people that I consider successful.
I had some successes. I had I wanted to be a pro at Comedy Works,
Yeah,
and
there you go.
so that was the thing I had my eye on. JFL was the thing I had my eye on. So I feel successful in like picking a couple things and being like, oh, let me see if I could get that thing.
Good. So what first came to mind, or what did you think of when we asked you for a bad idea?
I mean, probably like one of my earliest bad ideas was to start dating someone before I even went to college and stay with him for 12 years. What a bad idea.
Oh, sorry, 12 years?
12 years.
Dang. Okay, so how old were you when you first started dating then?
I try not to pinpoint these years on how old, but I was 19. I was 19,
okay.
And we got together. He was about 15 years older than me.
Oh, wow.
But I was like, I'm mature. I'm a very mature 19-year-old.
Okay. Dang, okay.
We were together for a long time, and I just, the idea I had was like, okay, dear Jesus, I'm going to marry the first man I have sex with. Because, Lord, you want me to. Like, I'm committed to this one man indefinitely. And I thought like I could grow into being a wife and we could be married. I was just like playing house for so long, and I was engaged for a really long time to him, but that was not the right person for me. That guy should have been my first boyfriend, not my first husband. And he turned out to be something in between. I just had a long ass relationship.
Okay, so you were engaged, but you didn't get married.
Yeah, didn't get his stuff at the end. He got the house and the dog.
I had to go through all that and didn't even get.
Yeah, I'm in grandma's garage, and that's how that goes. There goes my 20s and all of my good skinny years. He's got those.
Well, I think you touched on an important part there. Is that the idea was that you would grow into being a wife, or you would grow into being ready for that situation, and it just never grew that way.
I'm glad that I eventually got out, even though I should have gotten out around year 1. It should have been a 1 year, fun thing. But right. I was like at 19, like, I'm an adult and this is an adult thing. And, I was very religious, and it was like, well, you can't be having sex out of marriage. Therefore, if I want to have sex with this man, this must be my husband. And you pick one and you stay with them, whether they're good or bad for you, is what I thought. You just make it work. And that guy wasn't the right person for me. I wasn't the right person for him. And it took us a long time to release the bad idea of let's get married anyway. Let's be together anyway. It's like, if you're not good together, then on to a new idea, baby.
Yeah. So, okay.
I would have never done stand-up comedy. He didn't want any he should never let me go to college is what happened. Should have never let me read books.
So when did you start stand-up, when you were together at all, or not until afterwards?
Like during a break, when I finally broke up with him. Like, I think I broke up like 8 years into it, and then I started stand-up because I was, free to do whatever I want and experiment with things and not have anybody telling me that I can't do it.
I don't know why experiment is funny, because most people are like, oh, you experimented sexually, and you're like, no, I did stand up.
Experimented with the arts.
Yeah.
But he just was discouraging. He never said, no, you cannot, you're not allowed. He was just not encouraging anything that might seem hard. He was like, don't try that. And so once we broke up, I was like, I'm trying this and hash.
Hey.
And ecstasy. Come on, I'm trying it all.
That's experimenting. Okay, yeah. How long into the relationship did you get engaged?
Well, I actually wore a ring the whole time.
Like from day one?
Like just a ring to show people like I'm taken.
Right. This is off the market.
I am off the market. Sorry, college boys. Sorry, freshman class. I'm off the market. So I wore a ring for a long time, but then he proposed about 6 months after I graduated college. That was his thing, was like, let's wait till you're done with college. Let's wait. And I was just really antsy about it, really from just from a religious perspective. I was antsy about it. It wasn't really deeply thoughtful. I wasn't really making it. And at some point I was like, you know what? If I have kids with this man, I'm doomed.
Okay, so then you were engaged for how long? I mean, was like 6 years?
We were engaged for like 2 years.
2 years, okay.
And then I broke up with him and was doing whatever I was doing for like a year and a half,
Comedy and
including
drugs.
stand-up
Yeah.
comedy and drugs. And then we got to get back together. I think he got me a new ring, maybe. He got me another ring.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you put all the rings he got me together, you might still have nothing, really. They were little, like, you think of blood diamonds. I was like, no blood was lost in the gathering.
These yes. made people healthier for some reason.
These were some caught in somebody's shoe and tossed out. Like, and then I wore it for forever.
Yeah, don't look at it, you'll bend it.
But then his parents were, at that point, they had known me so well, they wanted the dream too. They wanted a daughter-in-law and grandkids, and they helped him buy a house, and it was for us. Wow. You know, they bought us a dog. They just showed up with a beautiful puppy for us, and it was just like, oh God. And I still managed to separate myself eventually 4 years later.
Well, good.
4 years. Oh, it took me 4 years to get out.
That's funny. Well, only 8 the first time, and then another 4. I mean, yeah. No one can question your commitment, your determination. You know, you were like, I'm gonna make this work.
Question my commitment. I definitely have commitment issues.
Well, shit. Now maybe. Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. You're like, I'm good. I'm gonna.
Yeah. we just were not the right fit. A lot of people talked about the age. For me at 19, I didn't see the age as a problem. Now that I'm well beyond 19, if a 19-year-old told me she was dating a 34-year-old or something, I would definitely discourage her. You're just at different points in your life. And as a woman, 19 was more girl than woman.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and I had a relationship when I was very young as well. That was like 6 years. And I felt like afterwards, people had told me that, you know, and I was like, no. And so I know that with my friends' relationships too, if it's someone that I don't necessarily see them working out with, I'm like, you can't tell them. You can't, it's just not going to work out.
They can't hear you.
To tell
Nobody
them.
Can hear you.
Yeah. And so,
I took it as a challenge.
Yeah.
We'll be the one. You think I can't give all of my life to this man? Oh, watch me, everybody.
I am the best at regretting things.
It's the best.
It's like the growth, you just never know what that looks like, you know, and during that period college. so much growth happens in college. Not to sound, you know, I always feel like I'm talking to a group of high school seniors all the time, because I'm like, you guys, you're gonna grow, it's gonna be different, you know, you're gonna meet new friends, it's gonna be great. You're
gonna read books, you're gonna speak to people who don't live in your neighborhood.
Well, and it's so funny because what I thought about what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be, I'm literally none of those things now, you know, like that.
It's because your dumb young self told you that. Yeah. Like, that guy can't be in charge. That guy signed up for student loans. Right. That guy's an idiot.
Yeah, went to a private school. But it can be in a really good way, which obviously it took you a little while, but eventually you got to the point where you got out of a relationship that you shouldn't have been in. You know, I mean, I literally thought, I was like, my mind is like science-based. I'm good at science and that's it, and math, and I'm not good at those things. And I didn't consider myself creative at all. You know, now fast forward almost 10 years since I graduated college, I'm literally only do creative things. And I'm like, oh, I wish I had known that then. You know, I wish I had thought about it when I was younger. And with relationship especially, of course, at the end you can go, oh yeah, we should have broke up after a year, or I should have gotten out, you know, but you are who you are because of a lot of that, I'm sure.
Yeah, too bad for everybody else. Too bad for my current boyfriend. Hindsight's 2020. 2020's gone though.
2020 was the worst, it turns out.
We hope.
Yeah.
We hope.
Stay optimistic here. How long did it take you after the relationship to start dating again? Or did you just you were like, oh, anybody else is good? Or
girl, that's another complicated story that I probably shouldn't get into, actually. I plead the fifth on that one.
Okay, we can switch off.
Yeah, but I was aching. I was, out of the relationship year 6. I just stayed longer. I mean, I also stayed in jobs I shouldn't have stayed in.
Yeah, I would
That's
do
just
that
how
too.
I do it. I didn't understand how long life is. How much you can still get done,
Yeah, or
when you get back.
you can have so many different lives, honestly,
You could
in
have
the
different
amount of
lives.
time
Yeah, you
that
don't
we're
like
given.
I settled into this idea that like I was cooking and cleaning and working at a bank and going to work from 7:30 to 4:30 and rushing home, and I would dream about work, and in the weekend you do laundry and dream about work. And I was like getting locked into this routine, and I hated it the whole time though. I was like, why are you locking yourself into a routine that you already really hate?
While you were doing it, you were already questioning it. So and like halfway through, you're like, I think this is a bad idea. Like,
it was a lot of me talking about it and wanting to get out. And friends constantly telling me I should leave, I could do better. There was nothing wrong with him. He was a decent guy, and he was handsome, and I think we would have had cute babies, and his parents
all those
didn't have
things
any other
fit into the
grandkids,
plan. Yeah.
and wanted to throw money at us, and that was a possibility too. But it was just like I started to like, first thing I did was, I remember I got out of that relationship after I started to change my schedule at work.
Oh.
I stopped working 40 hours a week at the bank and started doing I always wanted to be a server. Cut to me being a server for way too long.
Another commitment.
I watched Mel's Diner, and like those servers were like feisty, cool. Turns out it's just I wanted to do stand-up comedy.
There's an interim step. Serving is a gateway to stand-up.
It's a gateway because that's where women can talk back.
Yeah. And it's fun to have a sassy server. I prefer that. In fact, I'm engaged to one.
Not everybody preferred me that way, but that was a gateway to stand-up comedy by simply not working 40 hours a week and getting a little part-time hours at the restaurant. And then I was teaching after school enrichment, so that took me back to doing theater again, like back to what I love. I'd always done theater and performing arts, as a young person, and then when I got with him, I didn't have the time anymore, and I didn't have the support anymore. So once I started to change up work, and then it was like, well, you could change up everything.
Yeah.
I basically ran out like a thief in the night. It was dumb. I was young. I had left him a letter and started moving out. Told my best friend, like, can we get an apartment together? And I would come back home like when I knew he was at work to pack my stuff. But he got the letter, and then he talked to me about a person and like yelled at me like he was my dad, and it was really traumatizing. But it was like,
yeah. Well, I would say that was affirming to the decision. Yeah, you're like, well, this isn't helping. So
yeah, but I needed to leave. What he wasn't understanding was like he had no business with someone so inexperienced. He liked me that way. He liked having a little church going virgin who hadn't really lived much, and then it's like, well, now I'm not a virgin. That's your fault. I went to college, and I'm hanging out, and I'm hearing different lifestyles, and I went to art school, didn't do any drugs, didn't hook up with any guys. So boring. but the possibilities were there, and so that was a new thought for me. And you can't keep a woman as a girl or girl as a girl. You can't do that.
Right.
Well, we will become a woman in spite of all of your efforts. So he really should have let me go. I was asking for his permission to grow, and he would not grant me that permission. And then one day I was like, I don't need your permission. I'm just going to grow. I'm going to leave and grow. And that helped. But it took me already growing to say, okay, I'm going to do some more growing.
Right.
And I got to get out of here to do that.
Yeah. Well, that was beautiful, honestly. Obviously, you had just been with him sexually for the beginning part there. When you broke up the first time, were you able to experiment a little bit and kind of...
Oh, yeah, I was up in the streets.
Okay.
I belonged to the streets for a year and a half.
There you go. Okay. Which I think again, to sound like the old lady that's like, you gotta get out there. But I think it is important for people to experience.
I have said that to friends who have like only been with one man. I'm like I've actually lost friendships behind it because I'm like, look, dump them and go hook up. And they're like, I'm in love. I'm like, I'm not. You're dumb. You're me.
It was a bad idea, let me tell you.
Let me tell you, don't grow old like I did.
It is
and only have one partner.
What is it? The Ghost of Christmas Future or whatever. It's like, don't do it. Well, I think that's super important. And I have had that conversation with people also where they...
It's never received well. I didn't receive it well. Nobody receives it well. Then you get on the other side of it, and now you're part of this clucking hens being like, told you, girl.
Right. So. Well, and it's so interesting to me that we still like idealize that idea of like being with one person in like this whatever house on the prairie type of thing, you know, just like, oh, we're married.
Grandmother watches Little House on the Prairie faithfully, religiously. She's actually watching it right now.
See,
that's why I'm in the garage.
Because you didn't want to interrupt Little House on the Prairie.
Well, I didn't want her to hear what we were talking about. She watches Little House on the Prairie.
Little House on the Corner.
And prefers people to, you know, be a little more virtuous.
Yeah, and so my family wasn't religious, but I still kind of had this like idea of wanting to just even
television media, they pounded it into our heads.
The high school sweetheart thing to me too. I mean, like I totally had that. Even the first guy I was with in middle school, I was like, we're gonna be together forever.
Oh my God, it's a detriment. My cousin married his high school sweetheart. I don't know what they did in, you know, what their lives were like in between and stuff, but they were dating this like whole time. Now they're in their 30s. It's really cute, but it's just like, not that I grow through the men I sleep with, but I do grow by being open to meeting people. And for men, if you are not a person that they might be able to have sex with, they don't even want to meet you. So
that's true.
You got to put out that aura of like, it's a possibility. But I was walking around with this promise ring for, you know, 8 to 12 years or whatever. And I was basically saying, I don't want to talk to anybody. Nobody talk to me.
We were together for 8 to 12 years. That's... Yeah, I mean, and obviously in your situation, you weren't able to grow creatively really at all until you decided this wasn't a good idea anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's great. I mean, it's great that you wasted a lot of time.
It's a dumb idea. And where were you back then?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Next time you're thinking about it, come let us know.
Next lifetime, because I'll make the same mistakes. If give me a whole nother lifetime, reincarnated, I promise to make the same mistakes.
I think I would do that too, where I'd be like, even if I knew what my past life was like, I'd be like, well, maybe this one. Now I know what I did wrong before, but I'll get into the wrong relationship and try and fix it.
Again.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm hoping to be lesbian in the next life.
It's pretty great.
5 years from now.
Right. Different you can live. That's what somebody told me that once after a show. They were like, yeah, you do only live once, but it can last a really long time. I was like, all right, that's pretty true.
I've been at least 3 different people so far. So
well, and I feel like that also. Yeah. And I would say that the current version has happened only in the last 2 years. So even when you feel like you're like, no, I got it, I'm this person, it can still change when you least expect it. But hopefully it's good for the
like better. A pandemic could come.
Yeah.
And you're like,
and now
the cool things you were doing, you ain't doing them anymore. Are you cool still? Like, not really.
Yeah. I don't know anymore. I'm not sure.
I don't know if I'm cool anymore because all the cool things I was doing are not happening anymore.
Yeah. Oh.
Got that last JFL in though. Sorry.
Yeah, you did. I was hopeful for the next one. Nope.
It's done. It's a wrap.
Yep. There is no more. Stand-up's not even a thing anymore.
Season finale. I did it.
Okay. So now we have to, and obviously we won't know this until the episode is up, but the audience gets to vote or comment if they think your idea really was a bad idea. And this is pretty...
Oh my God. Yeah, it's obviously bad. I mean, unless my ex is on
He's like, no, it was
in the audience.
A beautiful time.
He might be like, I have something to say.
I object.
I object.
Was it a bad idea to start a relationship at 19 that ended up lasting 8 to 12 years? Maybe comment what you think the appropriate age is to decide.
Commenting about
this is
just,
the person.
Getting married when you're young or being monogamous or, finding the one, they'll probably be like, yeah, it's a good idea to find the one, but I'm of the belief that there is no the one.
Yeah, well, I also want to hear, even because I think you can have a good person at the wrong time, or the other way, like you could be completely open to a relationship and then lead you to the wrong person and maybe hold on to that for too long, whatever. So maybe what is the appropriate age you think people should settle down with a person, or when you look decide that this is what's too young, what's a good age, like 19, okay, too young, but what,
anything that says
23,
teen is too
25?
young.
Okay.
I think 20s is too young
Still, okay, so you're like, you need to be
but
30.
unless like I don't hate Kim Kardashian for getting married so often. I think that's probably the cool idea. If you like weddings and marriage and you have your own money, then hop around, marry a couple guys, Elizabeth Taylor style.
Hell yeah, I do appreciate.
Marry a girl, Niecy Nash, marry a girl, why not?
Yeah, and just make one of them, whatever. Get the citizenship somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna get. I kept thinking like maybe in my 50s I'm gonna meet a French guy.
Oh,
he's gonna be shorter than me, a little round, his name's Rene, and we go to parties together, and he gets me glasses of wine,
you
and
guys
I'm
are
like,
Janae and Renee. Nice.
And I just wear short skirts, and he like has this cute little accent, and he's like, people are like, how is she with him? He's so short and chubby, and he's just like adores me.
Oh yeah.
And leaves me a chateau somewhere.
I think that's a great plan. That'll be the next one.
And we're only married for like 4 years. That's all I need.
Does he die?
I don't want to be married forever. I mean, we just go separate ways. Go get a younger, prettier wife.
I see. Done. Okay, so you've aged out, and then he.
Yeah, I want to be the in between wife. Like, I don't want to have the kids for you. I will help with the kids when they're teenagers, and then I'm out when you're ready to have another baby with this young Portuguese girl.
And then they think about you fondly still. I like, in a
I
relationship.
Still come over for holidays.
Yeah.
They're like, that's your ex? Yeah, we're best friends.
Yeah, exactly. You still have like a good relationship, but you've decided that it wasn't working together. That's fine.
Yeah, we did what we did. We had our adventure. We went on some cruises and some flights and trips and stuff. And I got my best body and a little bit of Botox on Renee, of course. Yeah. I left with a dog in a chateau and a condo somewhere.
A condo.
It's nice. Debt paid off, teeth fixed. Renee's, I love him. Hi, Renee. I love you.
Yeah, Renee. I like him too. The idea about marrying multiple times is that I feel like, so people often, if they get divorced once, they're like, I'm never doing it again. I'm really guarded, none of that. And I kind of like the idea of you just being like, well, it doesn't mean as much now, so let's just marry a bunch of people right away.
Yeah. I mean, I guess a divorce is, everybody keeps talking, I'll never do a divorce. It's like, what do you mean? You combined your income and now you got to separate it so that everybody just acts like it's so messy to divorce. So I don't truly understand it. I think monogamy is just like not natural for humans. It's not. I don't just think it. It just is not a natural thing for humans and primates to be monogamous. So get out there and hang out. I do believe in the idea of running a business together. We are a business. I would like to get married to someone who like believes in my vision, and we work together and we grow our wealth together. But like this romantic, like I love you. I have such strong connections to you that I never want you to ever leave until one of us dies. It's like weird and selfish and clingy. And
yeah, I like the business idea too, because then obviously that person supports your endeavors because it's also theirs,
Right.
Because that is a big problem in relationship, and was in yours as well, is that you couldn't let you go try these new things or be creative or whatever because it wasn't what they wanted or whatever. But if they're a part of it, then
right.
Yeah, I like that. Renee will probably support your career.
Renee's so supportive.
Oh, all right. This was great. This was a fantastic episode. Janae, can you tell them where they can find you online so they can follow you and check out all your stuff?
Find me on Venmo at Janae Burris.
Absolutely.
Most important. Instagram, Negative Negro, and Twitter, Negative Negro. And I have a website, JanaeBurris.com. So you can find me there. The rough part about that is my calendar's all empty. It looks like the website looked way better when there was dates on it. So now I'm like hardly telling people about the calendar because it looks so boring now.
It'll be back.
But I still do Zoom shows. So, find me and have me do your corporate Zoom show.
Yeah.
I'll probably be doing, be working with the Athena Project again. That's a cool thing that I do. I teach stand-up comedy to teenage girls.
Nice.
And I love that because I think that humor empowers girls. And if I had been given permission to be funny when I was a kid, I'd probably be famous already. So
no, I agree with that.
I wish I wish I wasn't getting like told to be quiet and to keep my sassy opinions to myself. I wish I had started a YouTube like these other kids.
Yeah, exactly.
There were rotary phones when I was a kid, so there was no YouTube, unfortunately.
It was just writing letters to your fans. That's great. I did read about that. I think that's wonderful. So go find her. And make sure you comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff to this show. And check out Campfire Coffee Company. We love campfire.com. Order a cool sweatshirt. And come check out our other episodes. That's been Dumb Pitches. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
You're weird.
Yes.